We're contacting you regarding our mutual problem. Yes, I'm talking about this.
But how did Switzerland become so rich despite all of these disadvantages?
The more you spend, the more.
Switzerland has one billionaire for every 80,000 people, making it the third most dense billionaire population in the world.
When I tell you I have never in my life seen a city with this level of wealth and the ability to command prices that make no fucking sense.
Under what circumstances would you be obligated to cooperate with an FBI or U.S. Justice Department investigation, for example?
Cousins is a strong word.
Well, that's how they certainly looked at me and Mike.
For over 100 years, one tiny mountainous country had the whole damn world trust. Not cause they had tanks rolling down the streets, not cause they struck oil or had some damned empire. Nah, they had something else. Secrecy. We are talking Switzerland here. Yeah, they got the pictures of perfect lakes, the watches that cost more than your car, the chocolate everybody loves, but the real business, the vaults. Vaults loaded with gold, cash, and secrets so heavy they'd sink ship. Secrets from kings, dictators, CEOs, Hollywood big shots. For decades, Swiss banking wasn't just good, it was the gold standard, literally and figuratively. Neutral, quiet, untouchable. A place where no war, no politician, no court order that could lay a finger on your fortune. But here's the kicker, that fortress is starting to crumble. Political heat, big time scandals, and fresh competition coming in from Asia and the Middle East, ready to steal the spotlight. And the craziest part is, some of the wounds are self-inflicted. So how did the Swiss money empire get to the top and why is fighting tooth and nail to keep the crown? Let's rewind all the way to the beginning. Chapter 1: The birth of a money empire. The Swiss money story, it starts way before apps, skyscraper banks and black cards. In 1934, Switzerland passes the Swiss banking law. Break a client secrecy, you are not paying a fine, you are going to prison. Why? Partially to shield Jewish clients from Nazi persecution, but also, let's be real, to make sure no politician anywhere could stick their nose in your business. And don't forget, Switzerland locked in permanent neutrality in 1815.
Europe is still emerging from the devastation and dislocation of the most destructive war in history. Within its own resources, Europe cannot achieve, within a reasonable time, economic stability. The solution would be much easier, of course, if all the nations of Europe were cooperating.
Two world wars tore Europe apart, while the rest of the continent bled. Switzerland quietly took deposits, gold, cash, priceless art, confidential papers from every corner of the globe. By the 50s and 60s, they were swimming in oil money from the Middle East, fortunes from Latin America, political leaders from Africa, and the biggest multinationals. The sales pitch was a masterpiece, safe, neutral, and silent. You want your fortune untouchable? You go Swiss. By the late 20th century, secrecy wasn't just a law, it was the brand. UBS Credit Suisse, not just banks, luxury state symbols, white glove service, rock solid returns, silence so tight you could hear your own heartbeat. And with that kind of rep, they didn't just get clean money, they get dictator money, corrupt politician money, tax evader money, didn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
The country was booming. By the early 20s, Switzerland was holding almost a third of the world's offshore wealth, trillions frozen in the Alps. A Swiss account wasn't just protection, it was a power move. Then 2008, the financial world is shaking. The US comes knocking on UBS's door. The charge, helping thousands of Americans dodge taxes through secret Swiss accounts. Under crushing pressure, UBS falls. Hands over clients' names to US's authorities. But here's the twist, the real bombshell, Bradley Birkenfield. An American banker on the inside, he's done watching the cover-ups and dirty deals. So he walks into the US Justice Department with the whole playbook, names, schemes, accounts, the works.
I can give you information if you like, but in return, I expect to get protection as a whistleblower. If you give information, you get protection.
For the feds, Birkenfield was a golden ticket. For Swiss banking, he was the man who kicked open the vault door. That was an earthquake. For decades the deal was clear, your secrets stay locked in the Alps. Suddenly they didn't. Then comes the OECD's Common Reporting Standard. Over 100 countries suddenly demanding Swiss account info on tap. the foundation of Swiss banking secrecy just got dynamited. Chapter 2: The Credit Suisse Collapse. If 2008 was the tremor, Credit Suisse was the landslide. In the early 2010s, Credit Suisse still strutted like it was untouchable. White glove private banking, elite corporate deals, the works, but under the surface, slow motion train wreck. 2014, busted for helping US clients dodge taxes, slapped with a 2.6 billion fine.
Criminal activity. Exactly. You go after real criminals, which makes me wonder what the hell you're investigating me for. I mean, honestly, what is it that you think that we did or do?
2015, the Mozambique tuna bond scandal, 2 billion in hidden debt that sank the nation's economy.
Former finance minister of the Southern African nation, Manuel Chang, is facing a trial in the US over the infamous tuna bond scandal. The corruption scandal that emerged in 2016 led to a massive economic collapse in the nation. Chung is charged with taking bribes to commit his country secretly to huge loans that prosecutors say were looted. Between 2013 and 2014, 3 Mozambican state-owned companies took over $2 billion in loans. This money came from the global investment bank Credit Suisse and the Russian bank VTB, among others.
2019, corporate espionage straight out of spy thriller. They tear the former executive through Zurich. And that's not counting laundering, cartel money, dodgy loans, and bits that want nuclear. By the time Archegos capital collapsed in 2021, costing them $5.5 billion, it was clear this was not bad luck. This was bad culture. Clients start whispering, "Are we still safe here?" Whispers turned into phone calls to lawyers, and withdrawals in the billions. By March 2023, panic was full-blown. The Swiss government had to pull the ripcord. UBS took over in an emergency deal worth pennies on the dollar.
This morning, Swiss regulators stepping in, hoping to restore confidence and add stability to the panic-stricken global banking system. Overnight, banking giant UBS acquiring its embattled smaller rival, Credit Suisse, in a $3 billion deal negotiated by the Swiss government.
One of the most famous names in banking, gone. And the world learned, in Switzerland, even the giants can bleed. Chapter 3: The Loss of Neutrality. Neutrality wasn't just policy, it was the brand. Since 1815, they had stayed out of everything. 2 world wars, neutral. The Cold War, neutral. Conflicts began small, not our business. That's why dictators, tycoons, and monarchs trusted them. Politics never touched the money. Then came 2022. Russia invades Ukraine, sanctions start flying. For the first time in modern history, Switzerland picks a side, freezing billions in Russian assets. Line up with the EU and the US. In Washington, applause. In Moscow, Beijing, Riyadh, a different reaction. If they could freeze Russian money, maybe yours wasn't untouchable either. For certain clients, that was the end of the fantasy. Chapter 4: The Rise of Rivals. While Switzerland patched the cracks, rivals built new fortress. Singapore, clean, efficient, politically rock solid, iron-cold secrecy, English-speaking courts, and positioned perfectly for Asia's boom.
Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him, or give it up. This is not a game of cards. This is your life and mine. I've spent a whole lifetime building this. And as long as I'm in charge, nobody's going to knock it down.
Your banker might meet you in your office or in your Riyadh. Hong Kong, still the go-to for mainland Chinese wealth, even with politics shifting. It is the golden doorway to global markets. Dubai, where luxury and finance are inseparable. No taxes, no inheritance fees, and banking suits that look like penthouses.
What are you trying to do here? What do you want this place to be?
I want it to be number 1. Not in the region, but in the world.
What do you mean number 1 in the world?
In everything. High education, health, housing. Just making my people the highest way of living.
And the plot twist, the US jumped into South Dakota, Nevada, and Alaska quietly turned themselves into trust heavens. Ironically, the same country that broke Swiss secrecy now hosts some of the world's most opaque trusts. Every year, more billions flow east and west, and fewer stay frozen in the apps. Chapter 5: Internal Pressures. The real danger isn't just competition, it is internal politics. Proposals for inheritance taxes that target billionaires, 15% minimum corporate tax means Switzerland can rely on undercutting big nations. Anti-money laundering rules get tight every year, making life harder for grey area fortunes that once loved Swiss privacy. It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and the bankers know it. Their playbook is shrinking, and so is their client list. Switzerland is pivoting hard, from secrecy to service, from vaults to investment expertise, from tradition to high-tech wealth tools. Fintech is exploding, digital banking, blockchain custody, AI-powered risk models. They are pitching ESG portfolios that are ethical, green and sustainable, and they are marketing Swiss financial education to the next generation of billionaires. It's a full rebrand, from the words lockbox to the words wealth coach. For a century, Switzerland was the fortress of global wealth, but sanctions, transparency laws, and rivals have written the rules. They are still rich, still respected, still powerful, but that aura of untouchable secrecy is gone. The crown's still here. The question is, for how long?